Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Going into this All-Star game, almost everyone was skeptical of what this All-Star game would become, right? Especially when we started going through the format. As a matter of fact, leading into the game, I really still didn't understand the format. Even Jaylen Brown, who was there, said he himself didn't understand the format. But nevertheless, they started off the weekend, Sunday night's game. LeBron goes out there. He drops the first stinker with about an hour or so to go before tip-off. LeBron says he's not playing, which just threw like a dark cloud over the event. Then the actual game or games started. And as I was watching it, I'm saying to myself, bro, what is this? The team scored 15 points as a timeout that lasted for like 3 weeks. Then they came back, they scored another 15, timeout that lasted another 2 months. And then there was this long break in between the games. I'm like, yo, what is this? And it's obvious why there were all of these breaks, because they wanted to run ads and for their sponsors and all of this. And I'm like, this is a disaster. At the end of it, like the final game between the OGs or whoever it is, whatever G's it was, I was like, yo, I'm out. I'm not even watching this. I don't care. This is boring. I went to bed. In the immediate aftermath of it, everyone was reacting to it and saying that this was a total disaster and there was no escaping it. But one of the things all of us were waiting for was the NBA, were the ratings to officially come out so we can know what truly happened. And folks, it's worse than you think. I want to read you the quick headline from Front Office Sports, and it says, NBA TV ratings are down 5%. NBC may reverse that trend next year. So this is the article that we want to get into right now. The NBA TV's ratings have been a central topic of conversation all season long as the league has faced declining viewership numbers. But after a slow first few months of the 2024-2025 season with double-digit percentage declines, the league has partially recovered. Entering the second half of the season, the NBA is averaging 1.76 million viewers across ESPN and TNT platforms, a 5% year-over-year decline, according to Nielsen. Declining TV viewership is not exclusive to the NBA. The NHL is down 11% this year, despite widely successful four-nation face-off, and the NFL was hit with a 2% dip this year. The wide trend can be attributed to the decline in overall cable subscribers, which is down 8% year over year, according to Nielsen. For all that hand-wringing about the NBA, its social media numbers continue to surge. The league's content across social media has generated 83.5 billion views this year, up 41% from last year per video sites. However, this doesn't change the fact that the league needs to curb its ratings decline. An easy solution may come just next season when the league's 11-year, $7.7 billion media rights deal kicks in. Warner Brothers Discovery will lose broadcasting rights to the NBA, and NBC and Amazon Prime Video join ESPN. Now, I want to quickly read where they spoke about the All-Star rating viewership, because I want to get to that as well. Now, I want to show you a post from Front Office Sports on their Instagram account, and it says, looking at the thumbnail, NBA All-Star Game viewership drops to 4.7 million, second least watched ever. The new look 2025 NBA All-Star Game was the second least watched ever, down 13% from last season. 13%. So not only are ratings down, the All-Star Game ratings are down as well. So what does all of this mean? Well, you tell me. Because subsequently, the NBA posted a very ridiculous number, which they got 1 billion views on social media, so whatever it is. And the question is this what is this how that $77 billion is comprised? People like to bring up views that are relevant. Oh, you know, they got views over there, they got views over there. Bro, where is the money coming from? We already did the contract breakdown before. ESPN alone is paying the NBA $2.8 billion per annum for the new deal. So why are you mentioning TikTok or some irrelevant place? They're not where the NBA generates income. So mentioning them is a mute point. But nevertheless, people still try to bring up these irrelevant numbers. Oh, they'll tell you the numbers of viewership in China and the viewership over there. Is that where the TV deals are coming from? If they're not, why are you bringing it up? Why are you bringing it up? Why are you bringing it up? It's like as if you have a hot dog stand and you're supposed to sell hot dogs. You used to sell 100 a day. Now you're selling 20 a day. And they're like, bro, the revenue's down. And you go, well, but we're getting more likes on Instagram. Who cares? Who cares? Well, our Instagram engagement is up. Is that how we pay the bills here? With engagement? So people bringing up all of these ridiculous numbers, it means nothing. It's almost like as if you're trying to stick your head in the sand and run away from the reality. That's number one. Number two, this is a clear indictment against the format, that it doesn't work. Even the players that were there covering the sport, like Draymond Green and others, said they didn't even like it. So where do we go from now? Where do we go from here? Nobody knows. And I actually think that this situation is past the point of return. I really, really do. Because Adam Silver has created an environment in which players take him and the fans for granted. And now the new one, what I think from Darius Garland said that the new one, it could be if they incentivize players by paying them $1 million each to play in the All-Star game. I'm like, you have to be incentivized to go promote your own product? Really? That shows you don't give a damn about your own product at all, if you have to be incentivized to do it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, but this is where the league is right now. Welcome to the cupcake era, where they destroy everything. We're done with the 2020s with these people. These dudes are destroying the NBA, but got the nerve to talk about eras from the past, when this is the weakest era ever. Here's another stat that I just discovered that absolutely blew my mind. Like, you already know that I was complaining about the long commercial breaks and how it took forever and ever for these guys to get the damn game started. I just saw a stat. This is from Poly Market Sports. It says the NBA All-Star game had almost 5 times more commercials and breaks than actual basketball via Clutch Sports. Get this. There were 33 minutes and 41 seconds of actual All-Star time and 2 hours and 26 minutes of commercials and breaks. This is bad. That is a ridiculous stat. And it's an embarrassing one. It really is. There's no excuse for that. And you know what? It was obvious while we were watching. Because I'm like, why are these commercials so long? It was obvious. But to hear that in fact that was it. That they were, 4 times more commercials, 5 times more commercials than there was actual game time. That's a crazy stat. A crazy stat. This thing is beginning to smell like a disaster waiting to happen. And ever since the trade was announced that Luka was going to be in LA, I said that I was excited for the Lakers because Luka essentially represented a cornerstone player for this organization going into the future, right? That's what he represented. In the case of LeBron was, in my personal view, represented the past in certain ways because he's been there. He's at the tail end of his career, and he looked like he was getting ready to retire. So I said this was a great move. Now, when the trade went down, one person was quite vocal about it and why he believes it wouldn't work, and that person was Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley came out there and said that if you know anything about basketball, you know that this trade is not going to work. The reason Charles said that was because of the redundant play style of Luka and LeBron, number one. And number two, because these two gentlemen play the exact same position, which is a small forward, point guard, whatever you want to call it. They both need the ball in their hands. And now after the Lakers have dropped 2 out of the 3 games featuring Luka Doncic, it's only right that we begin to think of whether or not LeBron is making Luka worse. Because the thing has always been LeBron makes everyone around him better. When in reality, when you look at the players that he's played with, they actually got worse, especially star players. And he looks to be having a similar effect on Luka Doncic. So I was going to the internet and I came across some sound here from Get Up featuring Brian Windhorst and Shams. And they were asking Brian Windhorst to kind of weigh in on what took place yesterday between the Lakers and the Charlotte Hornets, who I can't believe the Lakers lost to them. So what we want to do is we want to play some of what Brian Windhorst had to say, and I want you guys to read between the lines what Brian was really saying, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Brian here.
Yeah, I think it was a fair question by our Dave McMenamin to Luka, but this is really an easy answer. There's no way J.J. Redick could have drawn up that play for Luka the way he is right now. He was not good in this game. Doesn't look like he has his legs at all. He's 1 of 9 on threes in the game. He's 5 of 24 on threes since he's been a Laker. LeBron is hot in the fourth quarter, has good energy. They draw a play up that creates an open look. It's kind of a no-brainer. To me, their bigger issue with the Lakers is how to get their offense going. This team was in a great rhythm before the Doncic trade. We know that it's going to take a while to integrate them. Right now, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Luka are all playing my turn, your turn. That's totally expected, but something that they've got to address much more than who gets the last second shot.
Yeah, to that end, in Dallas, he thought he was going to be the cornerstone of that franchise for his entire career, and then out of nowhere, you're shipping from Texas to Los Angeles, which, by the way, is nowhere near the same kind of living environment. So all of that factored in. The Lakers got through kind of the soft part of their schedule, Wendy. So now what do you need to see from them going forward? They got a big matchup with Denver on Saturday. They got to start figuring this thing out pretty quickly.
They got a tough game tonight, the second night of a back-to-back in Portland. Portland's won 6 straight home games, so that's not a gimme either, and their schedule is toughening up. When you watch them play right now, Luka is doing a lot of standing around. You know, when he's been at his best, the ball is in his hand and he's creating. He's putting up decent assist and rebound numbers, but his shooting numbers have totally plunged. His scoring has plunged. He's averaging 15 points a game. This is a guy that averaged 34 last year. And when you watch them play, you can tell he doesn't have a comfort in that offense. He doesn't exactly have any sort of two-man game working with LeBron. J.J. Redick had this team in a good place, and he had to rip it all up to shreds and redo it. So it's just going to take time. I know there's a lot of excitement around the team. Tuesday against Dallas, when they come into L.A., it's going to be a fascinating moment, but you really can't give a fair evaluation of this team right now.
So you heard what Brian Windhorst had to say there. What are my thoughts about this? Nobody wants to say it, but I will. Luka's getting worse playing with LeBron. Luka Doncic is getting worse as a player playing with LeBron. How do you go from averaging 34 points in the season to all of a sudden averaging 15 points? Now, some people said, oh, it's because Luka is dealing with some injuries and all of that. Yeah, that plays a role, but look, Luka is way too good of a player for this to be the numbers, number one. Number two, Luka has played banged up before in the playoffs, and he was putting up better numbers than what we're seeing now. Look, nobody wants to say it, so I will. If this thing blows up, which I'm beginning to think it will, first of all, I think LeBron has to take the blame here. Look, we got to look at the common denominator. LeBron fans, all they're going to look at is his stats and point to that. But you got to look at the results around him. It didn't work out with Westbrook. AD was suffering. In the beginning of the season, AD was playing like a monster. Then all of a sudden, LeBron started being jealous, and not jealous, selfish. And then all of a sudden, AD's numbers went away. And now Luka Doncic, who's a better player, which is crazy. How do you make somebody better than you worse than you? It's crazy. How do you make somebody better than you worse than you? And now they're already trying to cover up for LeBron and turn Luka into the scapegoat. And the new one is now Luka Doncic's way. Let me tell you guys where I think this is potentially going to go if this thing ends up being a disaster. If the Lakers end up failing, Luka's going to get blamed mercilessly. And I think that there's going to be a probability that Luka walks in the offseason and goes to another team. And let me tell you something. If that happens, Laker fans, y'all think y'all in the world of pain right now? You will not even know what hits you. Because if Luka walks, because the media and all of these guys are trying to save LeBron, the Lakers organization will be screwed for the next 10 years. That is exactly what will happen. Because if Luka leaves, you're left with LeBron. AD gone. AD's gone. So why they're even trying to paint it in a way that, oh, it's LeBron's thing, I don't even get it. LeBron ain't going to be there for the future. I don't even get it. But y'all keep it up. Y'all keep it up. Keep blaming Luka. Keep pointing the fingers at Luka. Keep blaming him. Talk about this. Talk about that. Y'all gonna see. Because if Luka leaves, it's a wrap for the Lakers. It's a wrap. A wrap. A wrap. Yesterday was a third game that was supposed to be played with Luka Doncic and LeBron. I think prior to that game, we're hearing LeBron may miss the game or not, but I tuned in the first quarter and I saw LeBron playing with Luka Doncic. And as I was watching the game in the first quarter, because that's all I watched, I said to myself, I said, man, the Lakers are going to win. The Lakers are going to beat the hell out of the Charlotte Hornets, and that's going to be that, right? And the end of the first quarter, the Lakers were up 28-21. So I went to bed. I think that LeBron had scored 8 points in that first quarter. Rui Hachimura scored 6. So they were looking pretty good, right? And I was like, I'm going to bed. That'll be it. Lakers will win, and then we'll move on to the next day, and that's going to be it. Just for me to wake up and see that somehow, some way, the Lakers found a way to lose to the Charlotte Hornets. And folks, let me just give you the rundown. The Charlotte Hornets are the second worst team in the Eastern Conference. They've only won 14 games this year. They have 39 losses. They had lost, I think, 8 out of their last 10 going into that game. And the Lakers lost to them. With LeBron James and all of these guys. I saw the box score and I was like, how did this even happen? And looking at the box score, LeBron scored 26 points on 45% shooting, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 turnovers. Austin Reeves, he got ejected out of the game. Let me see. Where's Luka Doncic here? I can't find him. Yeah, Luka played 33 minutes. His minutes restrictions were off. He scored 14 points in the game on 28% shooting from the field. He got 11 rebounds, 8 assists. So Luka didn't play well, right? And he lost the game. And as I'm thinking to myself of what to produce today, the name Charles Barkley came to mind. And I started thinking about Charles. I'm like, yo, hold up. Charles Barkley said something about this team when the trade initially went down that a lot of people got pissed off at him over. Where Charles said, he said, if you know anything about basketball, you know that Luka and LeBron cannot play together. Therefore saying that this trade is not going to work with these two guys. And I was like, yo, it looks like Charles may have been on to something. So for those of you who don't remember what Chuck had to say, want to play what he had to say for you now, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Charles Barkley here.
I think that's a great question. I think it's really important because nobody who knows anything about basketball think LeBron and Luka can play together. Both of those guys are great, but neither one of them can play without the ball. So, but this is the first decision I think the Lakers have ever made, but they're like, hey, you know what? It's over or almost over for LeBron. We've got to do something for the future. And that's what they did, in my opinion.
So if the future, Charles, in Los Angeles is Luka Doncic and J.J. Redick, where does that leave LeBron? Do you think he ends his career as a Laker?
Well, listen, I think if the perfect – now, listen, that's actually a really good question also. If I'm LeBron, I got this year, I got 3 days, and I might got next year. If there's a perfect situation, like Tom Brady, everybody want to give – and we all love Tom. Tom picked out the perfect situation in Tampa Bay to go out as a champion. LeBron has that type of cachet. He could pick in the next 3 days before Thursday, or he could roll it out to next year because the Lakers are not going to win the championship in the next 2 years. But they could do something where he could go to the perfect situation like Tom Brady did and win the championship. So that's still on the table. It's not going to happen with the Lakers. The Lakers are mediocre at best. They're the second best person in They're the second best team in LA. The Clippers even got a better team. They're not a contender, but the LeBron situation is interesting because if I'm Rob Pelinka, I call LeBron because now they got to start stockpiling assets to help Luka going down the road. I would have a conversation, LeBron, where could we trade you this year or next year where you have a legit shot to win the championship, and we get a good couple pieces or some good draft picks. I think that has to be on the table.
So you heard what Charles Barkley had to say. I'm beginning to believe there's some validity to that. I'm not beginning to believe some of us thought about how this would work. It's almost similar to like a Russell Westbrook kind of situation. Looking at these two guys, there's a real possibility this thing may not work out. The Lakers have a pretty tough schedule, staring them down over the next 2 weeks or so. Okay, they just lost to the Hornets, a team they should have won. They're going to go play in Portland. Portland ain't an easy team to beat at home. You got them. So they need to win that game. Then they start playing real teams. They're going to be playing the Nuggets. Good luck with that. They're going to be playing the Mavericks. Must see TV. They're going to be playing the Timberwolves. They're going to be playing the Clippers. Then they got to play the Clippers again. Then they got to play the Pelicans. Then they got to play the Knicks. Then they got to play the Celtics. Then they got to play the Nets. Then they got to play the Bucks. Then they got to play the Nuggets again. Yo. Things are about to get interesting. As we currently speak, the Lakers are now the number 5th seed in the Western Conference. There's a legitimate case that could be made. By the time they're done with this stretch, they could probably be back in the play-in tournament. They're going to be playing against some legitimate teams. And now we're going to see whether or not if this team is truly good, because they had an easy beginning of the season. And a super duper easy part. They must have played the Utah Jazz like 15 times, it felt like. And now we're going to see. And if this thing doesn't work, like Charles said it wouldn't work, who do we blame? The first group I would blame is the Lakers coaching staff for prioritizing LeBron over Luka. Last night, LeBron took the last 2-3 shots or whatever it is to win the game. Why you would prioritize LeBron over Luka is beyond me. Why would you prioritize LeBron over the guy that just came from the finals? I'm lost by this. The dude that just came off averaging 34, I'm lost by this. The dude, when he's healthy, is a top 3 player in the world. I am lost by that. LeBron is not a top 3 player in the world. He's not even a top 5 player in the world. Because for you to say LeBron is a top 5 player, LeBron is better than Nikola Jokic, you have to be patently, that would just be patently absurd. Then you got SGA. Then you got Luka. Then you got Jason Tatum. Did I mention Giannis? And then the list goes on and 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 on. But now people are trying to paint it in this way that, Luka has something to prove because he's playing with LeBron. I'm lost. Luka just came to the finals. You know, the guy that everybody was saying made 5 All-First NBA team. Now he got something to prove because he's playing with LeBron. I'm lost here. I'm lost. But that's what the media is trying to do. They're trying to turn Luka into the scapegoat. That has been their number one objective. And you have these LeBron foot soldiers that has been twerking it up all over the internet, working overtime to ensure that that's the case. But here at Dreamers Pro, we're not going to allow it. My thing is, why is it that great players get worse whenever they play with LeBron? Why is that? Whenever great players play with LeBron, their games always suffer. D. Wade, Kevin Love, Kyrie was the only person that was able to escape the curse. Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, now Luka Doncic. When great players play with Kobe, they excelled. Shaq, Pau Gasol, they did well. Those guys did very well. When players play with Jordan, they got better. But when they play with LeBron, they get worse. Why? Because he only plays one particular style.